Let me bang, I man. Do let you bang. Hey, let me bang you, man. I let you bang. I let you bang. Greetings, marrieds and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No for gay Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. Me, Adam Hunter. I'm here with Don Frye, the legend Don Frye. We're waiting for McCorkle. Greg just canceled because he got an audition, so good luck with the audition. And I hope you guys are doing well. A lot of things to get to. First of all, you ever wonder, Don, how someone just like gets to a certain point with somebody? You hear a story where you're like, how does that happen? So I was talking to my buddy about Mayhem, who I haven't talked to Mayhem in a while, but from what I hear, he's doing well. He's doing better. He might be getting out of jail soon. Hopefully he does. The dude had so many funny stories. Well, this story is just crazy. So there was this girl I know that like we had a mutual friend that I knew he was getting together with and hooked up with. And he ended up, here comes Sean. And he ended up peeing on her, right? But he never actually hooked up with her. Like, he's like, yeah, man, she didn't put out, she didn't like me, but she wanted me to pee on her. Like, that was like what they did. And I'm like, how do you get to that point? Like, how do you get to, like, you ever wonder how someone just, like, do you just start there? Like, does the girl wear clothes? Is it in the, like, how do you say, hey, listen, I don't like you that way, but you could pee on me? I just, every one of his stories is that way, where I'm like, I never knew how 1 + 2, how he got to step 4, because I couldn't figure out the first 3 steps. Did that ever happen with you, Don Frye?
No chick ever asked me to pee on her, you know? And I never asked no chick to pee on me, so it never got in that position. You got to talk to Sean McCorkle about something like that. I'm sure there in Missouri they do that all the time. Indiana.
So we're talking about Mayhem. He told me one time he hooked up with this girl. Well, he didn't hook up with her. I know that they like left together at this party. And what happened with you? And he's like, dude, all she wanted me to do was pee on her. She didn't want to kiss me. Didn't want to like make out. Like how do you get? I don't even understand how someone gets to that point.
I don't know, but I guarantee you she had a ton of self-respect. That's probably where it started originally, with her respecting herself. But I never understood the guys that were excited about that. Like, I had a guy tell me one time, was like, oh man, the girl let me pee on her afterward. I'm like, wow, my toilet lets me pee on it every night. I don't get excited about it. It's a strange thing, man.
Yeah. So I did a show last week. I was in Arizona. I did a show, and there was a couple, and the woman looked like, she wasn't bad looking, but she was predominantly older than the guy. And the guy looked like a young, like, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Nothing sexier than that.
So I was like, where'd you guys meet? And they said, a homeless shelter. And I said, well, would you guys working there? He's like, no, we were homeless. And I'm like, oh, okay. I go, wow, that's, talk about, I mean, that's probably good. I mean, it can only go up from there. I mean, I'm like, sir, were you homeless, or was that just a way you to pick up chicks? Like, you went to the shelter to meet women? Because, I mean, if you go to right, like, I knew a guy that used to have a car, and he would pick up girls at the bus stop. And he's like, yeah, because drive up and be like, hey, you guys need a ride? Because compared to, he couldn't pick up girls who had cars, but at the bus stop, he's the man.
He was Dog the House Hunter, and he was very unsuccessful. He couldn't find a home. Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, but I mean, they were happy. But then I'm like, so are you guys still homeless? And the woman was like, no. I'm like, oh, how long ago were you guys homeless? She said 5 years ago. I said, what do you do now? She's like, I'm retired. Like,
Retired from what?
I don't understand, but that's the one thing I miss about New York is like, well, first of all, like, I think New York is the most I lived there most of my life, but it's the most non-racist place I've ever been to because everyone's just scared of the crazy people. Like you go on the subway, it's white people, black people, Asian people, like, Orthodox Jewish people, and they're all looking out for the guy talking to himself, screaming stuff. Doesn't matter what race that person is. That's the person everyone's like. But I remember one time I was on the subway and there was a homeless guy that was like, hey, who wants to hear a joke? Give me money, I'll tell a joke. I'll tell a joke for money. So at this point, people are just giving him $1 and just tell the fucking, and then another homeless guy starts heckling him. Go, don't give that guy any money. That guy, his jokes suck, right? So now we don't know if they're in cahoots or whatever. So the guy collects like $12 and then he goes, boo, mumbles something and leaves. Like I didn't even know the joke. He just ran off the subway. The other guy gets angry and I think he had like a coffee or a tea or just, I don't know if it was urine in his hand in a cup, and he threw it at the guy and he missed the guy and hit some random woman walking like outside the subway. Just got splashed.
Maybe it was a cup of pee.
It probably was. But that's the kind of stuff that I miss. I mean, it's just constant entertainment. I remember one time I was hungover. It was like 1 PM, and I was just like, I slept with this girl the night before, and I was coming back, and I look over, and there's a horse, like on the subway, like a pony, a mini horse, right? So I'm looking around, like, and no one's even like paying attention to this, like as if this is what happens every day. There's a little kid next to the horse, and I'm like, hey, is that a pony? And she goes, yeah, he's blind. The guy had like a seeing eye pony. That was like on a subway in New York. But like I was the asshole for not knowing that.
I'm just glad that story about the guy doing the stand-up comedy, we finally have the backstory on how Brendan Schaub got his start in comedy. As a homeless guy on the subway, so telling terrible jokes that you couldn't understand.
Oh, God. All right, before I go into more stories, did you guys watch the fights?
I did, yeah. I watched them. I'm assuming Don did.
Don, did you watch the fights?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Don, what are your thoughts about the Ngannou versus Stipe?
Well, that's the way to lose a fight. That's not the way to win it, but that's the way to lose it, in an empty arena match where you're out in the middle of a cornfield, where nobody's at.
I mean, Stipe said he didn't follow the game plan. I would hope not. I hope that wasn't the game plan.
That would be an odd game plan.
Yeah. That's a really bad game plan. What was the game plan? Not to get hit?
Well, he said he went into round 2.
That's really the game plan. Don't get hit and hit the other guy.
Yeah. Well, he said he went into round 2 feeling really good. But I got to say that what it didn't look like it. It looked like he went back after round 1 and asked his corner, what do I do? Which is not what you want to do. Ask the corner in the middle of a fight. Like, what do I do? Like, it seemed like, I don't know. Like, he took a shot. I thought the shot wasn't a great shot, but it was a shot. But just when he took those huge fucking, lunchbox fists to the face, it seemed like after that he did not want to be there. And like the entire octagon was flipped upside down or on its sideways or whatever. Sean, could you relate to that feeling?
Yeah, I never wanted to be in there when I was fighting, but I don't know, man. My son asked me, because apparently I've influenced him, and now he gambles on sports, which is good for a 19-year-old to be spending all his money on. But I told my son I was betting on Ngannou, and I actually bet on him to win by knockout in the first and the second round. So it's like specific bets that he'd win in the first or the second, because the thing with him, man, Stipe's probably a better overall, obviously skilled fighter, but Ngannou only has to hit you once. That's the problem. He only has to make contact once, and chances are, if he throws enough of them. I mean, when he knocked out Cain Velasquez with what looked like a quarter-ass hook and dropped him, I was just like, man, I don't know what you do with a guy like that. Like, with that kind of power, and it must be legit, because not everybody's, getting fake knocked out by it. Like, it's like he throws punches from 6 inches away and knocks people out. Like, I don't, like with 6-inch windup. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't understand. Maybe it's mechanics, maybe it's just natural skill, but I don't. I was never a big puncher, so I can't understand it. But yeah, it's I don't know why Stipe wouldn't. I mean, he only tried one single leg. It seemed like he would keep doing that. It wasn't successful, but I mean, it's a lot better than, standing there and just trading with the guy. So,
Don, if you were fighting Ngannou, what would your game plan be?
I would I'd shoot a low single to the outside and come in from behind. You know, that I mean, shit, you sure don't want to be in front of the guy. So yeah, dude, geez, I mean, like I said, low single to the outside, come up from behind, and then go for the game on the ground, go for the choke. You know, armbar.
Yeah, I mean, obviously easier said than done. I think there should be a rematch. People are saying, why have a rematch? But I mean, it's 1-1 right now.
Because he's the goddamn champion. That's he's the champion. He deserves a rematch.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Now, Jon Jones.
They're sitting there calling him the greatest champion ever. Well, fuck, if that's the case, then he automatically deserves a rematch. There's no argument about it.
Now, Jon Jones, obviously, he moved to heavyweight. Now he's saying he wants more money. The problem with Jon Jones is that there's a risk involved. They may have to move the whole, arena to a different state that accepts the fact. I mean, there's just all kinds of problems with insurance there. But at the same time, who doesn't want to see that? I want to see it. Everyone wants to see it. The fight would make so much money. The buildup would be great. Before the fight, I was saying that I thought Jon Jones would beat Ngannou. After watching this, I don't know. I don't know. Sean?
I got to go with Jon Jones, man, because I think he sold his soul to the devil. After he beat Cormier in the first fight, the way he beat him, I thought, Jon Jones could wrestle, never wrestling, but Cormier, in a fight. And I would say, Jon Jones hasn't looked great in his recent ones, but he'd have the reach advantage over Ngannou. He's even got more reach than him. Jon Jones is amazing at keeping the distance, or whatever. I mean, Ngannou's always got that puncher's chance, but I think if Jon Jones can take down Daniel Cormier, he can take down Ngannou for sure. And I think he'll take him down and beat the brakes off of him. But that's kind of like a win-win because either way you could see one of them get knocked out. So it would make me happy. It's like when Travis Brown fought Brendan Schaub. I was the best and worst day of my life. I knew one of them was going to get beat up, but the other one was going to win. So,
Don Frye, who do you think wins this one?
Oh, hell. No, he got me all confused. Sean did a good job. I lost my place. I think, like you said, Jones is a hell of an athlete, and he can take down
DC.
Two-time Olympian, but I mean, hell, it could have been a weak Olympic year, for wrestlers in that weight class, in the US of A. I mean, there's always different things to weigh, and the thing is Ngannou's a completely different creature. I mean, he's a lot heavier, a lot stronger, and those 60 pounds make a hell of a lot of difference. A hell of a lot of difference. I mean, that's why you see people bitch and whine about 5 pounds, I mean, but 60 pounds, it just completely changes the whole aspect of the game. And Ngannou's he's a freak of nature, he's so damn strong. So that's going to be the interesting part of it, and Jones is not going to be able to knock him out, Ngannou can take a hell of a hit. And the thing is he going to be able to handle being hit by somebody as strong as Ngannou?
I mean, Rogan made a good point about maybe having a 220-pound weight class or 230, because it did seem like Stipe would be the champion at 220, 230, and it did seem like they were in two different weight classes.
Oh, no, you know what? Here's the thing. Stipe needs to get a new fucking camp. I mean, they got him where he was at. They did a good job getting him there, but they cannot keep him there. So, he needs a whole new crew. I mean, that's
the
all
problem.
there is to it.
Yeah, the problem, I know Stipe and I know his coaches a little bit and all that. Part of the problem is he's by far the best guy in that camp. It's kind of like, I mean, if you're calling me and asking me to come over and roll with you, you got real problems in your camp, I mean, they were hitting me up as of even a few years ago, wanting to know if I want to come and roll with him. I said, dude, I don't even train him or anything. I would get murdered, And I was able to get him there's a real good boxer here in Indiana. He was and he helped him get ready when he fought Mark Hunt, when Stipe fought Mark Hunt. And, but I mean, if you're bringing in guys, from out of state, and they're not elite guys. It's just like any, anybody you can get or whatever. Like I said, if you're calling me when I'm 42 years old to roll with you, it's the problem. You never want to be the best guy at your gym, unless you're the best in the world. But you want guys that can push you.
How much money were they offering you?
Oh, it was just for free for pictures, I think, or whatever, like to take pictures with him. But,
that's right there. There's your answer. I mean, if they're calling people in just to get photos or just to brag about or walk into the arena, that means they're not serious. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. You've got to spend money, in order to, geez Louise, I mean, you got to spend money in order to improve.
Well, I also can't believe that he's a full-time fireman. I mean, I can't think of like any other sport where you could.
But yeah, that's stupid. I mean, you got to quit. I quit my job, when you got to make a decision. Are you going to be a fighter, or are you going to have a real job? You've got to make the fucking decision, and you've got to pull the trigger one way or the other. It's time to grow up.
What's the best thing? What's the best thing your coach ever did for you, Sean?
Golly.
Yes, I've done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess depends on which coach. I had my diet and conditioning coach. I lost 70 pounds in 7 weeks. That was pretty impressive that he was able to do. But my first jiu-jitsu coach, probably the best advice he ever gave me was always start on bottom, no matter what, because if you're on top in a fight, you're going to be all right. So I was actually more comfortable on my back than I was on top in fights because I had always trained from the bottom. Even when I'd sweep somebody, I'd just start over on bottom again. So I always fought from my back, and that helped me out a lot, man. That I felt really comfortable fighting from my back. As opposed to being on top. And as long as you knew how not to get submitted on top, you're always going to be all right. So,
Don, what about you? What's the best thing a coach ever did for you when you were fighting?
Oh, yeah, they brought in quality people, and Steve Owen, he always dissected the opponent very good. He was real good at watching films and dissecting the opponents. So he knew what the hell they were going to do before they knew what they were going to do. So he had a good game plan going in.
Yeah, when I was at high school wrestling, I was the defending state champ, and I lost 4 matches in a row, or 5. I was like cutting weight. I was dehydrated. I was in a horrible.
Hey, what state were you champion?
I won the main states, but then I also won New England. I won all New Englands, and then the Class A champion. So, but my coach, after like my 5th loss, came to my dorm room because I was at a boarding school, and got me out of bed at 11 at night and said, "Let's go running. We're running." And I was like, "What?" And then we ran like 3 miles that night. And then he's like, "Man, you're gonna turn this around." And I ended up winning like 4 tournaments in a row, and I beat everyone that beat me. It was just like that, like. And then when I'm coaching, I remember when I was driving this little kid, Justin, his father wasn't around. It was like a kind of a broken home, and it was over the break. And I went to his house, and I would see him look through the window and not answer the door at like 9 a.m. So I was like, fuck it. I just walked in his house, and I went upstairs. I'm like, get out of bed. We're going to practice. He's like, you can't do this. This is not legal. Let's go. And then I took him to practice, and then he made fun of me the entire time. And he was like, there was a billboard. It was a little black kid. He was super funny. There was a billboard that said Anna versus leukemia. And he goes, "Coach, I got $10 on leukemia." And
shit.
I was like, that's not funny, Justin. And then we had
I can't believe I didn't think of that joke first.
And then we had a sprint to practice, right? We sprinted, and he beat me in a sprint. I got beat by a 12-year-old, right? He was fast as hell. He was like, 90 pounds. So I'm like, all right, we're going to do 5 miles. I knew we couldn't do 5 miles. So I pull over. We're around the track, and he gives up after mile 1. But now I can't quit. I can't show him that, like, quitting's okay. So I had to finish the 5 miles while he sat in my car. And then I get in there, and he's laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? He goes, I made my dumbass coach run 5 miles. But he actually called me recently and, like, thanked me. He's like, hey, man, I'm playing college football. I want to thank you for, like, all the times you put up with my bullshit. But that's what a good coach does, I feel like a good coach, like you always remember, I think, you always remember the worst coaches you had, and you remember the best coaches you had. Now, Tyron Woodley, right? Everybody wanted Tyron Woodley to throw more punches. but I think he threw too many. Like,
Yeah.
he threw all the punches. But he fought like he went out on a shield and he fought great, but he fought reckless. At the same time, it was the most exciting Woodley we've seen in a long time. But now he's lost 4 in a row. He doesn't know what to do. What did you think, Don, of the Tyron Woodley fight?
Yeah, I thought he looked a lot better than he's looked in his last 3 losses. And again, you know, if you're in a losing streak and you're a professional, you know, fighter, you got to get a new crew. That's all there is to it. You know, either that or you retire. You know, because if somebody's not doing something correctly, and you know, nobody ever wants to take the blame. You know, they always want to blame somebody else. Well, you know, that's why you got to pull the trigger. You say, oh, okay, I still have it. I still want to fight. So I'm lost 4 in a row. My team needs to go. I need to get a new team. I need to move somewhere. You know, or else you say, okay, I'm done. That's it. I just ain't got it. I don't have it anymore. You know, and so somebody's got to put the big boy pants on and say, hey, I mean, the crew, if they really care about him, they should quit. You know, I mean, that's it. Well, somebody's at fault.
Sean?
I don't understand. Actually, I do understand it because I know what they're doing. But I wish the UFC, man, when a guy's lost 3 or 4 in a row that's a former champ, give him a fight he can win. I mean, don't keep putting him in with one murderer after the next. I don't like, even when BJ Penn just wanted to get one more fight, it's like, okay, let's not give you Diego Sanchez. Let's give you the number 3 ranked guy and see if you can beat him. Like it, even if you look at other sports like basketball teams, Duke doesn't play North Carolina, then Gonzaga, then like a top 10 team every week. Like they will start off season slow with, 5 or 6 gimmies. I would just like to see the UFC on occasion give a guy. So, I mean, everybody's tough in the UFC, but give him a guy that he could or should beat. Maybe a guy in the top 20, but not the top 10, like give him just sometimes a win can change everything, man. It can change your mentality. It can change your confidence, everything, just knowing what it's like to win again, especially in the UFC when you only fight once a year and you're going 3 years between winning, so.
Kind of like how they do it. Like, it seems like with like Matt Brown or even Cerrone, they kind of do that sometimes. Like,
yeah, they do.
And other guys, they just keep putting in with fucking murderers. Don, thoughts?
Yeah, but it's money out of them. I mean, they can get money out of Cowboy Cerrone winning, but can they get money out of Tyrone Woodley winning? Or if you just lost to him and nobody likes him in the first place. I mean, that's the thing. What's the personality of the guy, and is he marketable? Is he worth shuffling around?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to women, I know they call them like slump busters. Like when a guy hasn't got laid, guy hasn't got laid in a while, and then you're like, I gotta fuck something just to get my confidence up. They should have like the slump buster MMA fighter, But
well,
yeah.
Even if you look at Pride back in the day, which was obviously more talented than the UFC, but you would have Fedor would fight that big Zulu guy, then a random Asian guy, then Crow Cop, and then Crow Cop, if he lost to Fedor, would fight like Gary Goodrich or somebody he could beat, a couple guys, then they'd match him up with Mark Hunt, let's say, or whatever. So it just like, I don't think there's anything wrong with building a guy up a little bit. I don't know why it always has to be top 5 guy against top 5 guy constantly, like in every, they used to do loser versus loser. So if Chuck Liddell lost 2 in a row and Vanderlei Silva lost 2 in a row, they put them in together. That way, at least one of them gets a win, but another one of them gets a loss either way. So it's kind of like, I don't know why they both couldn't fight someone they can beat. I don't mean make it a joke fight, but I mean somebody that's, they're going to win 75% of the time and give them the opportunity instead of just, but like Don said, they don't like Woodley, I'm sure. They're probably done with him. So let's build everyone else. Colby Covington, the guy, I can't remember who he just beat, the Vincent, whatever his name is. Just keep building other guys off their name and then cast them aside,
And then, I was happy for O'Malley. O'Malley looked good. I don't know what happened to that Brazilian dude. Like, he was a monster. And then I feel like Brazilians, when it comes to losing confidence, they're the worst when it comes to, like, they'll win 10 in a row, and then they lose 1. And then, that one guy, Barral, like, he just was like a fucking murderer. I mean, Aldo's different, But some of these guys, like they lose one and then they can't get their confidence back, or something happens, or USADA or whatever. But yeah, man, like happy for O'Malley. That kid's a stud. I mean, he's got power. He's awkward. He's hard to train for. I still want to see how he does against a Division I wrestler. I now they're saying him versus Dominic Cruz. Very interesting fight, because I don't know, man. First of all, there's going to be crazy shit talking. Dominic Cruz has been in there with everybody. You know he's going to hate O'Malley. You know he's going to come in prepared. You know O'Malley's going to try to get under his skin. That's a good fight. I mean, Cruz is hard to hurt, really hard to hurt. He's a very good wrestler. He's got great footwork. I mean, who do you think wins that fight? O'Malley, Cruz? Sean?
Man, I didn't realize they were the same weight class. I was thinking O'Malley was 145, but I guess he's 135 then.
I don't know.
Is he 135? I thought he was 145, but I could be wrong. I'm just going off what I thought. But I think he's probably not Dominic Cruz's type. So other than being a dude, so they probably would probably not get along, like you said in the press conference. Probably go at it because it's like two dudes that cocky. They're going to compliment each other for sure. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to see that. I think that'd be a great fight, man. It wasn't O'Malley was out for a year or two on some kind of weed bullshit or something, wasn't he? Like that sucks that he wasted a year or two of his life over something that doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like something stupid like that, man. So hopefully they'll get him back in there pretty soon, because he looked really good, man. I was talking shit about him on Twitter, but he looked really, really good, man. He's super athletic. Some of those spinning back kicks and roundhouse kick shits he was doing, to do it that fast in a fight and that fluidly, man, it reminded me of Jon Jones, really, like some of the stuff he pulls off. So,
Don?
Yeah, it would be an entertaining fight. And, either way, it wouldn't hurt whoever lost, It would help whoever won, but wouldn't hurt the guy who lost, because they both, have a pretty good name as they call the opponent, as somebody to lose to. So it would be good.
So Don, there's a new thread on the Underground now about Prime Frye versus Prime Randy Couture. Who wins? Do you want to discuss this one?
No, I don't. I don't give a fuck.
Well,
do you think but you would win that, right? Don?
he really doesn't want to discuss.
All right, moving right along. Don, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, okay, fine. Damn. Okay, all right. Well, there goes that segment. So we got a new dog, by the way. So look, I'm a big fan of rescues. I think what they do is great. But some of these places, they go to the shelter and get all the cute dogs. And then when you want to get a dog, they make you go through like 3 interviews. They come to your house. And it just becomes kind of like invasive, where you feel like you're being judged. And they turn a lot of people off this way. And it's like the other day I did a show in Arizona, and this girl came up to me afterwards. She was a nice girl. She was dating this guy, T. Edwards, who's a fighter. And she's like, "Oh, I work with this animal rescue. We're doing adoptions tomorrow. Come by." So I was like, I called T. I'm like, "What kind of adoption agency?" "Oh, it's easy." I'm like, am I gonna get 37 questions? Are they gonna have to call my first boss and like my ex-girlfriend and all this other shit? "No, it's easy." I go there. They're like, "Sorry, all the dogs went home." I'm like, "All the dogs went home?" They're like, "Yeah, we have no dogs." I'm like, "But I'm like, let me just see one dog." They're like, "No, you have to leave." I'm like, "What? I just drove 20 minutes." I'm like, "Just bark like a dog, like it's like something." So then I was on Facebook, and some girl said, "Listen, this dog has one eye because it was staying with this other guy who had 5 dogs, and one of the big dogs bit its eye out, and it's not, she can't keep it, and it hasn't been chipped, and it hasn't been this, and it hasn't got shots. It's in a rough area." So I went down. The woman was super nice for doing this. She saved it from a bad area. So now we have a new dog who's he's a Pomeranian and a Chihuahua. They call him Palm Cheese, and it's really, really sweet. So it's got one eye. So we might call it Bisbing. So I actually texted Bisbing. He says you have to name it that, of course. But so we have a new dog. So I'm very happy. Sean, any update on your $20,000 dog?
Yeah, my dogs are doing great, man. I was just thinking, you said you went down to Arizona. You should have not thought about it like adopting a dog. You should have just went down the border and picked up a kid. It would have been less hassle. Like they don't even care. They'll just give those kids to whoever wants. I'm like, oh, you want one? Do you have a phone number they can call you from? Okay, you'll take them. Like, that's the way it is, man. And they've already got them in cages. So, like, you're set either way, man, the way they treat them like animals down there. So, but it's not the same because Trump's not the president. So it's an enclosure where they're very humanely treated. Everything's great from what the media's told me. So
I can see where this is going. So back to dog. But it's like there was a girl who was like a big YouTube star who was like, I'm doing very well. And so she said, she reached out to a shelter. She posted it, a shelter, and said, hey, I see this dog. I go hiking every day. I go running. I'd love to get this dog. And the lady writes back, sorry, he doesn't like hiking. And then she's like, so I can't get the dog? She goes, I like hiking. She goes, nope, he wouldn't. She goes, he'd hate it. And then that was it. And then it led to the thread of all these people that were like, yeah, they said that I couldn't get a dog because I wasn't going to be home for 2 hours a day. Somebody else said that, like, I didn't make enough money. I mean, it's just like, what are we doing, people? It's like anything that people could just feel like they have power over other people. They just get off on telling other people why they're not good enough to do anything. It's just fucking crazy.
I'm more concerned about the lady that thinks she's talking to dogs and they're telling her they don't like hiking than I am concerned about what's going to happen to the dog. Like, somebody needs to talk to that lady. But I did tell somebody the other day, man, it's, I love trail mix. I don't know if you've ever seen that, like, obviously in the store. But, like, I was like, man, I love trail mix, but I hate hiking. Like, my life's a mess. Like, I can't, because I can't eat at any time but hiking. But, yeah, I don't know.
Then I did a show last week, and this happens all the time where there'll be a couple, they come to the show, and they just make out the entire time. They're like, they're sitting at some, at a table in the front, and the girl was hot. She was like, 40-something cougars, and the guy had like a tight shirt on, he was like one of these guys, like
he was hot too.
He made money in Bitcoin or something. And they're just going at it. And it's kind of distracting. Like, she's like grabbing his cock and like, they're going for it. I'm like, why are we going to a comedy club and doing this? Like, Don, have you ever been one of those PDA kind of guys?
Not to that extreme, no. No, not at all.
Sean, you?
No, I'm always uncomfortable because everybody stares at me everywhere I go anyway, so that just makes it even worse if you're like making out with a chick or whatever. So it's funny, my dad, I used to hate people staring at me, and my dad was like all the time, like telling me, like maybe they just think, hey, that guy's taller, that guy's good looking. I was like, yeah, that's what I think when I stare at people. Look how good looking that guy is. Like but yeah, we went to a gun and knife show the other night, and I was stared at the entire time I was there. So I wanted to pretend like it was because I'm famous and everybody knew who I was, but like, I still don't know exactly what it was about, but yeah, I get, my brother told me, he goes, everybody's looking at you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. So.
Then there was a girl that like had like the tightest pants I've ever seen. She left wanting everyone to look at her ass. Like, I mean, and then she gets up. I'm like, what do you do for a living? And she's like, I'm a loan officer. I'm like, well, I'd like to loan my cock at your ass. And then I got a big laugh. And then there was a guy in one of the tables who was Mexican, but I know that because every time I said, hey, what do you do? His girlfriend would yell, he's Mexican. He's Mexican. Like, that was every answer, right? So then I go to
didn't have a job.
He probably had 12 jobs. So then there was...
He's unemployed.
So then there was then there was a fighter, Jonathan Pierce, who was fighting. He's from like Tennessee. So I go, hey, where'd you meet your girlfriend? And then he goes, she goes, here. I'm like, oh, I'm like at the comedy club. And then she's like, yeah, 6 months ago. So then the guy goes, he goes, they weren't even open back then. Like, and I'm like, what are you, the fucking CDC? And then she goes, he's Mexican. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So it's SIDC, the CDC. So I was actually happy fucking how quick that was. Yeah. Then I shot a movie, right? I shot a movie where like, it was a short film. It was a werewolf movie, right? Where like, so it was in Tucson. It was a short film, and the guy who they cast as the cop had like one leg. Like, he lost his leg in like they lost his leg in some motorcycle accident, and he's a nice guy, but he's like, he was asking me about like improv. He just started doing improv and this and that, and he didn't know his lines. He was, did fine, but they hired some girl to play the werewolves. This like hot chick shows up, so right away he starts directing her. Like he went from not knowing his lines to telling her where to look, what to say, what to do, and then I'm talking to the director, and I overhear the guy saying, "Look, I don't want to hit on you or anything, but I'm not trying to hit on you, but you're the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen in my life." I'm like she's been there for 3 minutes. I'm like they're throwing her in a trunk. She's a werewolf, and now a guy with one leg is telling her she's the fucking hottest thing ever. And then the director was my old roommate, and he goes, "Hey, Adam used to hang the brain all the time." I'm like, "Dude, why are you telling this fucking girl this?" He goes, "Yeah, so I woke him up one day with naked bongos." I'm like, all right, like this is done. You've been on some crazy sets. You were on The Longest Yard with Joey Diaz. Who else was on there? It was Goldberg, Stone Cold Steve Austin, you. It was what's his name? Bob Sapp. What was that set like?
Who are you talking to?
You.
No, I wasn't on that movie. That must have been another white guy with a mustache.
Oh, I thought you were in that movie. Why did I think you were?
No, he was in Big Stand, which was very similar.
Stand. Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for reminding me that there's another job I didn't get. Yeah, thank you.
What was the most unprofessional you've been on set? Not you, but people you've been around.
Oh hell, man! We did this one movie, and one of the gals was so drunk she fell out of the Jeep, and then she tried blaming David. Can't remember his last name.
Was it David Arquette?
Yeah. She tried. Yeah, how the hell did you know?
I just figured some of that could be blamed for that. So she tried blaming David Arquette.
Yeah, he pushed me. No, he was nowhere near you. She was just so drunk, it was unbelievable,
Wow.
And that's one of those things where you go like, oh my God, do I look like that when I drink?
Adam, you realize you just confused Don Frye with Burt Reynolds, right? Like,
oh yeah, of course. For some reason, For some reason, I had him in that movie. I don't know why. I just feel like you'd be in that. I feel like you'd have been perfect in that movie. Like I feel like he should have been in that movie, right? I mean,
he should have been the guard saying the N-word instead of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think that's how I pictured Don.
Of course.
I should have been in a lot of movies, but apparently I don't have friends in the movies. In the MMA world, They don't spread your name around. They keep it for themselves.
Well, if I ever have a chance to help you out, I will. Ever. But one of the craziest, fucking most unprofessional gigs. So I was doing a college, Sean, and the booker had already cashed my check. Like he never sent me the check, and I kept saying, I'm like, where is it? He's in the mail. So now I had to fly to Tennessee without getting a check. So I fly into Chattanooga. The thing is like 3 hours away. The booker's office was like 2 hours by the way. So I drive 2 hours to the thing. He's like, oh, it's in my office. I get the check. I go to the bank. The fucking it's a bad check, right? So then they threaten to arrest me. I'm like, these motherfuckers. Like, so I just go 4 hours to almost get arrested, right? So now I get to so now I'm like, do I even do the college? So I drive to the college. It's a Episcopalian college. Like it's a religious school. No one ever told me this, right?
Right.
So I get there, and people are getting credit for like going to my show for like as like a religious credit. Like I'm not the guy that you should get credit. Like unless you're like studying Satan or something, right? That's not the show you want to go to. So I get there, and the lady goes, "Listen, you have to be like super PG." And I'm like, "You got to." No one told me that. She's like, "Okay, if it gets too dirty, I'll give you the throat slash signal, right?" I'm like, "Okay, fine." Like
the throat slash.
Yeah, like cut it, right?
Oh, okay.
Her boyfriend was there, who seemed like we were wearing like a Navy shirt. Like, thank God he was there, right? So right before the show, they have an ice cream break where everyone gets like ice cream. Like this is the kind of college it was, and everyone's like eating ice cream, right? So I go up there, one joke in, I'm getting the throat slash, and I hadn't even got to like my dirty. It wasn't even like it was like a clean joke. So then I'm like, oh, shit. So I just ignored her and did like 45 minutes. The kids are going crazy laughing. I could see her just fucking fuming, like steaming coming out of her ears, right? I get off stage. She beelines towards me. I'm like, she's like, I go, before you say anything, they bounced this check on me. Okay, I shouldn't even fucking be here. I almost got arrested this morning. Like, I'm covering your ass. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That fucking got me out of it. Thank God. But like, did you ever have a fucking promoter bounce a check on you or tell you gotta get paid more? Or?
Don or me?
Either of you.
Yeah, I've been given counterfeit money in El Paso, Texas, about $5,000 in counterfeit $100 bills one time when I had my business down there, and from different people. I had like 12 customers that day, and none of them spent $5,000, so they were all giving me fake money. And I went to the bank, and the lady starts counting out the money, and it's some parts of it are turning pink, and she's throwing that in one pile, and then my other money in the other. So it ends up being like $5,000 or $6,000 in the counterfeit pile and $200 in the not counterfeit pile. And I was like, what's that? And she goes, that's the ones that are counterfeit. And I was like, oh, okay, can I have that back? And she's like, what are you going to do with it? I said, try to spend it elsewhere. And she was like, no, honey, we got to call the Secret Service. You're trying to deposit counterfeit bills. I was like, I'm not trying to do anything. I said, I was given that money today. She goes, from who? I was like, several different people that came across from Mexico. Then I'm getting the third degree about why am I dealing with people in Mexico? I was trying to explain it. It was just cocaine. Like, it wasn't the end of the world. And, but I was, I'm trying to explain to the lady, and the Secret Service calls me and they want to know we want to know who gave it to you. I was like, I don't know. And try explaining to the Secret Service that you opened up a used appliance and electronics equipment business in El Paso, and the first day you got a bunch of counterfeit money and you don't know who gave it to you. You don't know their name, their phone number. You were selling used washers to them for $50 or $100 a piece. Like, it sounds crazy. Like, the whole story sounds like a lie. And I was like, that's what happened. I don't know what to tell you, And it was like, the best was the time I had the FBI raid my place, because in Indianapolis, I had a recycling company and I had made someone mad. So they called and said I had a bunch of illegal Mexicans working there, which I did. But they said that I had them locked. They said I had them locked in a basement and wasn't feeding them and making them work like slaves, indentured servants. And so they come walking in, which I did also. No, but they come in, these 5 or 6 guys, like all dressed in suits, and they're with one of my workers. And he's like, hey, these guys want to talk to you. And he's like, where's the basement at? And I was like, I don't know what that means. And the guy said, where's the basement? I was like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Or whatever, like coming here making demands of me and my business. He said, we're from the FBI. I was like, oh, okay, well, you guys are cool then. Like, I didn't know what to, or no, I said, who are you? I said, who are you? I said, who are you clowns? Like, in here making demands. That's why I called them clowns. So we're from the FBI. And it turns out I was right. But I told them I didn't have a basement there. And yes, they were illegal, but it's not my problem. You know what I mean? They have cards that say they're not. Like, it may say Bob Smith, and it's obviously a Mexican that has a social security card. But I mean, as long as he had one, it didn't matter to me. They worked their asses off. So, but yeah, that was, I've had all kind of fun with the government. So.
What about you, Don? Do you ever get stiffed or people giving you?
Oh yeah, several times got stiffed. Yeah, they, or like one of the fights. I mean, I've told this story 100 times. One of the fights, Severn got me when he first got me into it. I flew to Atlanta, and the guy's driving me over there, and leans across the seat and says, "Oh, by the way, we can't pay you. You still want to fight?" Yeah, I flew to Atlanta. I'm gonna punch somebody, And I got stiffed on another fight. I've been stiffed several times.
Wow.
And there's really just nothing you can do about it. You just laugh and leave. And you're stuck in their town. And you don't know who they're connected with. And you gotta get out of there.
Damn.
That that guy Inoki that fought Muhammad Ali back there, he owes me $10,000. I went over and fought Satoshi Ishii on 30 hours notice, literally 30 hours after they called me in Seattle. I was there in Japan in the ring fighting for $25,000. I agreed to fight Satoshi. This is like, I wasn't even fighting or training at the time at all. Like, they just called me and said, you want to fight tomorrow in Japan? I was like, nah, I'm good. And they said $25,000 and 2 round trip tickets and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, okay, why not? Yeah. And then after the fight, they gave me $15,000, and then they didn't speak English anymore. It was crazy. Like, all of a sudden they're like, oh, they don't understand anything I'm saying. I'm like, no, it's 25. They're like, oh, we don't understand. I was like, no, it's 25,000. And I called Monty Cox, and he said, oh, they'll give it to you. Don't worry about it. They've never stuck me. And that's the last I ever heard about it. So.
Wow. Yeah.
Pride.
I flew to England and got detained because they're like, why are you here? And I'm like, oh, I'm here to do a comedy show. And then I didn't read like one of the 9,000 emails that like it's small print that said, don't tell me you're here for a comedy show. You think that would be like the big one, right? So they take me to a room with a bunch of like runaway nannies and like and then I sit there for like 12 hours. They take my passport, put me back on a flight, send me home. I never got paid for that. I was just like, ugh. What's up, guys? Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. I mean, football might be over, but the NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are in full swing. BetOnline even covers awards. I mean, how cool is that? TV shows and reality TV, which I love to watch. They got real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, the scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. So head to the website and use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. So don't sit on the sidelines anymore, huh? Don't be that guy or girl. Get in on the action. Don't forget to use that promo code CLNS50 to receive a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. So visit our good friends and exclusive partner at betonline_AG. Take advantage of the best bonuses in the business. Sign up for a free account and use the promo code CLNS50 for your sign-up bonus. Use the hashtag BetOnline. But,
did Pride ever stick you down on any money, or did they stick guys over there?
Yeah, Pride stuck me. Yeah, I guess that's everybody. You know. Shit, who was it? Ray Seffa was going to kill him. You know, they pissed their pants. You know, but yeah, they stepped me big time, and I had to.
What?
They stepped me, but then I had to get out of the country. You know?
Yeah, Don. I was always curious. What did they pay over there, to guys like, let's say, like Coleman or Fedor? Do you have any idea what Pride was paying those guys per fight? I never could get an answer from anybody on what they were making. I was always curious what they were getting paid.
No, I have no idea, but I'm sure those guys are getting more than $25,000 for 15. You know?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Although I gotta say, like, performing in Asia was one of the most funniest experience. Like, when I did comedy in China, I was like on like this like bootleg tour basically. It was just like they made it like it wasn't like most of the places didn't speak English. We would hope there'd be translators there. They don't even call it a comedy. They call it American talk show because you're American and you're talking at the show. And then one time I get there in Wuhan, China, like we're Wuhan, and they're like, oh, you guys are a rock concert. We're like, no, we're not a rock band. They're like, oh, we have to give you a smoke machine. I'm like, no, we don't need one. We're just telling jokes, you know? So like, no, we have to give you a smoke machine. I'm like, okay. So they announced my name and all of a sudden smoke everywhere. Like I can't see anybody. Like for the first 5 minutes, it's me in front of 30 Chinese people who don't speak English, like a couple that do, and just smoke. And they laughed so hard. Like I was like, that was my shtick. Like I couldn't follow the smoke machine. I actually posted the video.
They're smoking up for themselves, you know, create a smoke machine.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said the air is not bad enough. That's the thing about people don't realize. When I was in China, like everyone's like, I don't think we have a chance about cleaning up this world because just being in China alone. Because I just for example, I got a coffee and I threw it in the garbage, and someone's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Throwing something away." They're like, no. They want you to leave trash on the floor because that creates jobs. And then people's jobs are to pick up the trash. So now there's trash everywhere. Like the place was just, I'm like, wait, so, like I got in trouble for throwing away a fucking cup of coffee. That blew my mind. And also tipping. Like tipping is an insult in China. Like a guy gave me like I bought like a Coke at a bar. It was like $5. I gave him 10. And he goes, "Hey, get out of here. It's okay." I'm like, no, it's for you. Get out of here. I go, "No, you get out of here." Leave. I go, "I'm not fuck." Go like they get very offended when you tip. Like it's I don't know why. I guess it's a Western thing, but damn, they got offended when you tip.
That makes Karate Kid 2 make so much more sense because I can never figure out what Chosen's problem was with Daniel LaRusso. Like, he just would always attack him for insulting his honor. I don't know. Maybe it was all over tipping. Like, I don't get it.
Don, do you ever go to any of the strip clubs when you were in Japan?
What's that?
You ever go to the strip clubs when you were in Japan?
Oh, yeah, they have beautiful women from Australia. Just gorgeous, you know. But they all, you know, worked as hookers or else, as, I don't know, some kind of a spy or something like that, you know. Who knows? It was like, I'm not paying you for sex. You know, I get bad sex at home. Shit.
Yeah. What about you, McCorkle? You never been a big strip club guy, huh?
No, man, I always said, man, I dated girls better looking than any stripper I've ever seen for free. Why would I go pay a girl to pretend like she likes me? Like, especially I wouldn't go all the way to Japan to see an Australian. That doesn't make sense. But I was all the way in Australia, though, one time, and I noticed that 75% of the population was Asian, which I thought was really weird. Like, in Melbourne, Australia, almost everyone is Asian. Like, literally, like 85% of the people are Asian. It blew my mind.
Wow,
So,
I did not know that.
yeah.
When I was in Vegas, like this girl that was on Rock of Love, who was like, I was like just on Chelsea lately the week before. So she was like, oh, you were on Chelsea. She was all about it. But she was like really racist. I'm not going to say who it was, but like people would walk by and she'd be like, ooh, this one. But she was like hot. And I didn't know what, like, so I had that dilemma of like, should I take her home or, because she like liked me, but she was racist, but she was hot. So I compromised. Like when I banged her, I'm like, yeah, you like black dick, just to like, but
she wasn't racist against you, right?
No, but at the same time, but yeah, no, but like, did I take you to porn star karaoke when you came to LA, Sean?
No.
Oh, that's one thing I missed. So they have this thing called porn star karaoke in LA. It used to be where they had porn stars doing karaoke, right? And it started off with like the really hot porn stars, and then once everyone got word about it, it became like the C or D level. It was like a chick that was on the like one episode of Come on My Glasses Part 7 or something. It wasn't like, you know, so
not those classy chicks from Backdoor Latin Sluts 5. It's
right. Yeah, it was bad.
There's the fluffers, yeah, in the background, yeah.
Yeah. So there was one chick that was like giving a blowjob in the bathroom in like the men's bathroom. And it was like a small bathroom. So it was like one stall. So you went to use the urinal and you heard like her blowing some dude. And then when she left, everyone started clapping for her. I forgot her name. I think she like broke the record, like most guys in one night or something. But I remember,
it's okay that she was in the men's bathroom though, because she identified as a whore. So it worked out.
But I remember one time when like that show that song Dirty came out. Christina Aguilera, Dirty. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like 5 hot porn stars like singing to it, like just like freaking each other and like going like they were like giving each other lap dances. I'm like, this is pretty hot. So I'm sitting at a table and then Ron Jeremy's next to me. This is Ron Jeremy, right? He was still dirty and whatever. And then Be Real shows up. Be Real from Cypress Hill. And then before that, the band Survivor performed. They were there every week. Survivor, like playing Journey, but they were like, because like I think they were, I don't know, like they were like the big deal. Survivor every week. It was at Sardo's in Burbank, right? So then I'm like, what's gonna happen now? You got all the girls from like the freaking each other. All of a sudden, Tommy Lee walks in. Like he got like the signal, like the horse signal. Like, dude, this like. So he shows up, and I'm at the table now with Tommy Lee, Ron Jeremy, and Be Real, right? It's surreal. I'm fucking stoned off my ass. I'm like, this is crazy. So some chick comes over and she goes, look, Tommy, and just flashes her tits to him, right? Tommy Lee takes a lighter and starts trying to like burn the girl's tits off. Like
naturally.
And then it was just like awkward and the girl just left. It was that was the whole story. But
I ran into Tommy.
Silicone gasoline.
What was it?
Something about gasoline. I don't know.
Where her tits filled with silicone or gasoline?
I don't know. I probably silicone. But I'm like, I mean, Tommy Lee's probably seen that many tits where he thought like lighting the girl's tits on fire, that's the thing to do.
Hey, something interesting. I've seen 80 million sets. Yeah, certainly something interesting with those sets.
Yeah, I mean, Don, when you after won your fights, the girls come up to you and just like flash you the tits?
Oh yeah, it was. You would get that, chicks could do silly things, when you would win, I was never gonna flash to me when I lost, but.
I know I ran into Tommy Lee in the VIP at the UFC in LA, and I told him I loved his work in The Fugitive. Like I said, he was amazing, and he did not get it at all. He just stared at me blankly.
Oh my God. That's the thing, man. I kind of miss. That's the thing about LA, that like just crazy shit happens. Like I remember I was on stage one time at the Dime Bar. There was like 7 people there, and I asked a girl, I'm like, "What do you do for a living?" And she's like, "I'm a professional cuddler." And I thought she was kidding. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm a cuddler. I'm the world's only 5-star cuddler. Google me, right? And then somebody Googled her. She was like, she gets paid for guys to cuddle with her, right? That's like, and I'm like, how much do you get? She's like $300 a night or something. And so now every girl's like mad because they're like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? She's cuddling. And she wasn't even like the hottest girl. She was like, I don't know, like what you think a cuddler would look like, So Jay Moore was there. And Jay Moore's like, yo, I'm going to take her home. I'm like, the cuddler? He's like, I'm going to break her. I'm like, dude. So Jay goes home with her. And the next day I'm like, Jay, how'd it go? He's like, she just wanted to cuddle. I'm like, dude, she's a fucking cuddler, bro. He goes, yeah. He goes, I take her home and she goes, do you want to be the big spoon or the little spoon? That's like her line, And he was like the big spoon. That was his whole. I mean.
If Jay wanted to break her, he should have made her watch some of his movies. She'd have broke immediately. Like, listen, what do you want to do? Just turn it off.
Did she charge him?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, God.
That's when he says, my real name's Adam Hunter, honey. Send the bill to the club.
Meanwhile, so Jessica I has an OnlyFans account, right? And she says, hey, I have a XXX, or I have an R-rated OnlyFans for an extra amount of money. So then I'm like, well, now you could watch her blow it in and out of the octagon. So I called her. I'm like, can I do this joke? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, you asshole, fine, go ahead, blah, blah. So then the other day she writes, I'm going to kick you in the balls when I see you. And I'm like, how much extra is that on OnlyFans?
Can you believe some of these women, the money they're making on OnlyFans, and they aren't even good looking? Not that I thought of Jessica I in that light. I'm just saying, like, some of these girls, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I thought we were in a recession and a pandemic. Like, people have money to blow on a chick that they're not fucking, that they're not going to hook up with, that they're not like, they don't care about. Like, I don't know what you're getting from that. I mean, I guess maybe
poor. You're getting poor.
I guess maybe guys like it when like a girl's masturbating and calls out their name or something. For like, I could sort of see that, a guy doing that. Like, I'm gonna pay a girl to masturbate and yell my name.
Not me. It's not. I've had it done. It's not worth it. I wouldn't pay.
Yeah, it's just not. Man, first my wife, we have joint accounts, so she would see that. Like, what is this? She would kill me. So Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. So they had their big. Did you watch it, Sean?
I watched the press conference. Yeah, it was funny to see Ben Askren be at a loss for words for once. Like it looked like he genuinely didn't know what to say back. Like of course, I don't know what you say back to somebody going whoa, 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 when you try to talk. Like it's limited to what you can say. But yeah, it was funny. He actually seemed to be irritated. I didn't know Jake was as big as he is. He's considerably bigger than Ben.
Well, here's the thing about that, right? So at first I was like, Jake Paul's going to win boxing. But then I thought, you know what? Like, Askren has always had a fallback plan of, look, no matter how bad this fight goes, I could take the guy down. Now he knows he can't do that. So I feel like he's only going to take this a lot. It looked like he's in better shape. He looks like he genuinely hates the guy. He looks like he doesn't want to lose. I'm kind of leaning towards Askren. And in some ways, I think if he just focuses on striking for the last 4 months and this, he may come back to MMA and be a better fighter because now he has another weapon that he was never really wanted to use or needed to use. Now he could actually punch a little bit. So I'm starting to get excited about it. And then him and Masvidal were going at it. Told Masvidal, listen, man, you landed one lucky knee. You know, you got 50-45s to Usman. Like, fuck you, man. Like, leave me alone. I hope Askren wins. But he looked like, even when he, like, smushed him, like, it looked like there was different levels. In some ways, I think, I don't know. Don Frye, what do you think about this?
About what? You threw a bunch of a whole bunch of names out there, buddy.
All right, what do you think about who do you think's gonna win this fight?
Which fight?
Ben Askren versus no Jake Paul. Jake Paul versus Ben Askren.
I'm hoping to go with Ben, but with my record lately, you know, he'd probably be better off if I said Jake Paul. You know, sure.
Yeah. Man, I would hate it. I mean, Dana White's putting $1 million on Ben Askren.
Yeah. The thing you got to remember too, man, like Jake Paul looked great against two guys he's fought. How great would Ben Askren have looked against Nate Robinson and that other homeless guy? Like, it's so easy to look good against terrible guys. Like, if you give me the biggest, most muscle-bound dude in the world who looks really physically impressive, who's never trained before, and I'll submit him 3 times a minute with no problem at all if he doesn't know what he's doing, you know? And that would make me look great. And then put me in there with somebody who knows what they're doing, and they, you know, would give me all I could handle or beat me. So it's kind of like if Ben Askren fought Nate Robinson, Nate Robinson's like 5'7", 150 pounds and has never fought. Like, that's not a, like, impressive win. And like, oh, he's got a nasty right hand. Yeah, if he can land it on Askren. But, I mean, Askren's been training, however terrible he may be at stand-up, he's been training for at least 12 years stand-up, you know, regularly. So he's going to – and his cardio is going to be a lot better. And for the first time, Jake Paul's going to be fighting somebody that's real, not somebody that's some stooge, you know. So we'll see how he handles that stress. He's smart, though. The money they're making, I'll tell you what, I know he doesn't believe half of what he's saying or most of what he's saying, but he's smart, man, because he seems sincere when he's talking shit.
Yeah, no, I mean –
wait, so Dana bet $1 million?
He's saying he's going to put $1 million on Ben Askren. And then Snoop Dogg says he'll take the bet.
Snoop Dogg wanted to bet him $2 million, and Dana said, why would I bet you straight up $2 million when the odds are 2-1 on Jake Paul? You know, he could double up his money either way on the bet. But I thought it was funny that Snoop thought Dana would be scared to bet $2 million when Snoop probably has $30,000 in the bank and Dana's got $700 million. But Snoop's like, oh, I'll bet you $2 million. Like, Dana's gonna be like, oh no, I can't do that. You know. Well,
the commentary team is going to be Snoop Dogg and Pete Davidson, and then they're having Justin Bieber perform. I think Migos perform. It's going to be entertaining. On the undercard, Steve Cunningham, who was like a legit boxer, is fighting Frank Mir. Frank Mir is supposed to fight Antonio Tarver, but Tarver didn't pass the physical. I mean, how bad do you have to be to not pass a physical in boxing?
On a Jake Paul fight?
On a Jake Paul. I mean, isn't it like touch your toes and like hop on one foot or something? I mean, how hard is it? Right? Is it?
I think it's interesting that like Pete Davidson, Snoop Dogg are the commentating team. Neither of them have ever known their father. Like, I think that's interesting. So, for those of you that don't know, Pete Davidson's dad died in 9/11.
Oh, thank you for clarifying.
It was a tragedy.
In case you weren't offended when you heard it. Okay, so now this week in Bellator on Showtime, Patricio Pitbull is fighting Emmanuel Sanchez. You guys know these guys?
Yep.
Should be a good fight. Pitbull's won like 5 in a row. Sanchez has a win over Daniel Weichel, Speedy Claxton, Georgie Karakhanyan. I like this fight a lot. Who do we like in this fight? Sean?
I'd say Pitbull, man. He looks like he's going to string together another couple of wins just in time to jump to the UFC, like everybody else at Bellator. So, yeah, he's looked really, really good his last couple, man. Like, he has impressed me. A lot of times the Bellator guys, obviously, if you don't even know when the fight is, you're not going to, know the guys. But they grow some of their own talent, man. Really, it isn't all just guys that are cast off the UFC. Sometimes, like Michael Chandler, guys like that, they're coming up with some pretty good guys on their own.
Yep. You want care to comment on this fight, Don Frye?
Yeah, I think Pitbull, like you said, he's coming along.
Yeah.
He's got the experience. I'll go with Pitbull. Sure.
Yeah. And then Neiman Gracie, whose only loss is to Rory McDonald, is fighting Jason Jackson, who's really good. The guy's coming off a win over Ben Henderson. He beat Jordan Meehan. He lost to Ed Ruth, although I thought he won that fight. This kid's really good. His last real loss, I thought, was Kyle Stewart in 2017. So he really hasn't lost in 4 years. And that was an injury loss, so who knows what happened there. And he has a win over Diego Lima too in Titan FC. So yeah, that's going to be a good fight. It was supposed to be your boy, but he pulled out of his fight. Sean.
Who is it?
Matt Mitrione pulled out.
Oh, he pulled out? I didn't know that. I thought he was still fighting.
No, so now it's Tyrell Fortune versus Jack May.
Well, that'll draw some views. But if there's anything I want to see, it's a Fulton Mays fight or whoever you just said.
And on the undercard, though, Magomedov, who's 17-1, this guy's a monster. He's fighting CJ Hamilton. And then Roger Huerta is still around. He's fighting Chris Gonzalez on the undercard. There's a guy that, his career has been so up and down, Roger Huerta. Lately down, but, I mean, still lately great. I got
the inside story on Roger Huerta. Back in the day, they were looking for a guy to appeal to the Latin American market. I got this from a source, Monty Cox, who was really close to him. I was going to use it anonymous, but I'll just go ahead and tell you. But no, Monty told me that he told Roger, hey, you're a good-looking kid. They want to build the Latin American market. They're going to give you guys you can beat, So after he wins 4 or 5 fights, he's on Sports Illustrated. They're giving him every time. They're handpicking a guy who's never fought in the UFC to fight him, a guy they know he'll beat, right? So Huerta lost his mind. Is like, I want to fight a top 5 guy. I want to fight, somebody real. And Monty's telling him, hey, listen, let's not get crazy, you know what I mean, or whatever, because Monty Cox can make a living bet. And he knows who's going to win every single fight. He can tell you ahead of time, oh, this guy will beat this guy. He's just been doing it so long. But he told Roger, let's not get crazy, man. Let's just ride this one. It's hard enough to win in the UFC. Let's just keep riding this. No, I want to fight somebody real. I don't remember who they put him in against, but Joe Silva's like, oh, you want to fight somebody real? Okay. And they got his ass kicked repeatedly after that, or whatever. Joe Silva was kind of a mean guy back in the day, man, if you crossed him, So, that's what happened to Huerta. He could have been, he had time. If they keep letting you win or give you good guys, you got time to improve. He could have really been something, man. But people start drinking their own Kool-Aid sometimes and asking for it. I always ask, whenever they would ask me who I want to fight in the UFC, I want to fight the worst heavyweight in the UFC, unless that's me, in which case I want to fight the second worst heavyweight in the UFC. That was always my plan. So,
Frye, did you ever call anybody out, or did everyone call you out?
Nah, I never called anybody out. I don't even know if anybody ever called me out. Yeah. I didn't get my number around. So,
there was a lot of guys calling him out on the set of The Longest Yard, but unfortunately he wasn't there.
Oh,
so he couldn't hear him.
Sorry about that, man.
It was Burt Reynolds.
I do apologize for that. The next week on Showtime, Ryan Bader versus Machida. I was at the first fight. That was crazy because Bader had the right strategy of just don't engage, take your time until something's there. Then the whole crowd starts booing. Bader's like, fuck it, I'm going to shoot in for a double, and gets kneed and fucking knocked out. It's like you can't listen to the crowd. I honestly think a lot of these fights with no crowd would be a lot different with the crowd, especially the judging too. Because sometimes, when the judges hear, the hometown guy getting cheered every time he hits, they get influenced, whether or not they want it or not. But who do we like in this rematch? Don Frye, Machida or Bader?
Who's Bader fighting?
Lyoto Machida.
Oh, fuck. I'll go with Bader. I think Bader will pull it out this time. Most of these guys are stupid fighting Machida. They stick their damn chin out and drop their hands, which is not a very good game plan against somebody who's a striker. So, yeah, as long as he keeps his chin tucked down, keeps his hands up, then he'll win.
Sean?
I say Bader, man. I think Bader's still in his prime, really, or close to it. I think Machida's got to be over 40 now, or older even, man. I think he's early 40s. I think his time's well past. It's just weird to me that now they're on Showtime. Like they went from being on its no station, I couldn't figure out where Bellator was, and now they're on Showtime, probably following a Brendan Schaub comedy special. So they're really nowhere now. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's weird. They just keep changing. And weren't they on DAZN exclusively for a couple of years, I thought?
Yeah, I had to cancel DAZN. I'm like, why am I paying? And DAZN they fucked you. They said it was like $10 a month. You're like, okay, I can deal with that. And then it went up to $20 without telling anybody.
Right, yeah.
You can't just do that. So Jon Jones tweeted out, please just cut me. You'd rather have me around and treat me like shit. I swear the UFC industry has been nothing but depressing for me. I feel like my wings are being clipped. Just fucking let me go. What type of weird shit is this? Obviously the boss hates me. Let me take my business elsewhere.
Where's he going to go?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I can't really blame him, though. I mean, Jon Jones has done everything right since he got in the UFC. Like he's been a model citizen, perfect to deal with, never showed up positive for steroids, repeated fights, didn't cause UFC 200's main event to drop out. Like, it's not like he, you know, hit a lady in a car and ran. Like, he's done everything he could ask. Why wouldn't they show him the money?
Fuck. I mean, Don.
He should be happy to have a job right now, let alone want more money or a different promoter, man. Like, no one else would. If there were another promotion, they probably wouldn't have put up with it.
But he vacated the 205.
Right.
He said, I'm going to heavyweight. So he went to heavyweight. He put on 30 pounds. And now he's like, I want more money. It's like, oh, look, I don't just say how much money do you want? And then they could probably match it or get him pay-per-view points or something. Everyone in the world.
Well, he hasn't proved himself. You got to prove yourself at heavyweight first.
You think so? I mean, come on. You think so, really?
I know he gets pay-per-view points, so I don't know if he just wants more pay-per-view points or what, but his contract definitely has pay-per-view points in it, so I don't know what the complaint is.
I don't see I don't know. I'm not there. It just seems like this is not the best way to go about it because, you know, they're not going to let you go, number one. You're the best fighter in the world. You're arguably the best of all time. You've been a huge pain in the ass for people. You get it. But they're not going to let you go. You go to Bellator? I mean,
fight on Showtime?
I mean, come on, dude. Well, what do you think is going to happen? I don't see them not matching his offer. Unless he's like, I want $800 billion or something like I can't see them being like, no, we're not going to go close to that or match that. I mean, right? I mean, they know how much money that fight's going to bring in. Now, maybe the live gate because of COVID, maybe that could be a holdup, you know, because they don't know when they're going to go to Vegas. Where's the fight going to be in Jacksonville again? I mean, how many times? There's probably other factors here. It's not a regular situation. But I don't see that. I don't know. I'm talking on my ass, so why are people even listening to this? But it just seems like.
When is the last time he fought? I don't even remember when Jon Jones fought last. Who was it? Do you remember?
That's another thing. He hasn't really looked that good his last couple fights either.
No. It was a long time ago, right? Like, wasn't it a year and a half ago or something?
Yeah, he barely beat, what's his name? The kid from Riverside, right? Kid from Riverside.
Oh gosh, the dude. I can't remember his name.
The guy who got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the Jan guy, so Don Frye hits me up and bets $100 on Jan against Stylebender. Said, "Hey, can you put some money on there for me?" I said, "Sure." So he wins $215 on a $100 bet. So I hit Don up the other night, and I was like, "Hey, you want to put any money on this fight that's getting ready to happen, Stipe and Ngannou?" And then 12 hours after the fight happens, he said, "Bet it all on Ngannou."
Dominic Reyes. All right, so his last fight, I thought he lost.
Yeah, you claim it was 12 hours late. Yeah.
Weird. That text took a while.
So his last fight, he lost. I mean, I thought he lost. Thiago Santos, he won a split decision. You could argue that he lost that fight too. He beat Anthony Smith, and he beat Gustafsson. But he's still, at the same time, he's 26-1. He's 27-0, really. He is 27-0. It's just, you know, all the outside shit that kind of went on. But I don't know about tweeting this. I'm not really sure this is the way to go. I just don't know if that's the way to go. But what the fuck do I know? You know. Now the other thing is that what's his name? Aljamain Sterling says that he's not sure if Peter Yan deserves a rematch.
Right. He's not sure if Peter Yan deserves to beat him mercilessly again.
I mean, that's got to be a troll, right? He's got to be laughing about that, right? Like that.
I would hope that, or he definitely doesn't want to fight him. It's one of the two. So.
I mean, Don, what's up with that?
I didn't hear you. You didn't come clear.
All right, it just got announced just now. Anderson Silva is fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a boxing match. I'm not.
Oh, Junior. Wait.
Junior.
Junior.
Yeah, I said.
He's
Junior,
not the one that won. He's not the one from the '80s, right?
No, not the one from the '80s.
Okay.
The one from the '80s would actually is better, but it seems like Anderson Silva. All right, so the 45-year-old is reportedly set to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a 10-round boxing match at Jalisco Stadium in Guadalajara, Mexico. The fight is going to be called Tribute to the Kings. It'll be on pay-per-view.
And I'm fighting Marvelous Marvin Hagler on the undercard.
He just died. He just died, and I still have Hagler. So this is the first time Silva competes in combat sports.
Wait, did you just say you're putting money on Hagler?
Yes.
Oh, you dirty dog. Oh.
So Chavez is 35. I think Chavez wins this fight in boxing. Even though he hasn't really lived up to expectations and kind of like, in big fights, he's sort of fallen apart. I think it's Anderson Silva's first boxing match ever against Chavez Jr. I like Chavez. You?
Man, I've never seen Chavez fight. I saw his dad fight, but I don't know about the son. I think it's awesome that we're slowly moving toward like the celebrity boxing model, where it's just like, you remember like when Refrigerator Perry fought Manute Bol, and then Willis from Different Strokes beat the shit out of Vanilla Ice. Like, we're slowly morphing the boxing world into that. It's awesome.
2 seconds. Yeah, that's hilarious. But I actually ran into Willis one time. They had me at the Scott Baio charity golf tournament. They had me.
Please tell me you asked him what he was talking about.
No, awesome. But he was playing golf, and they wanted me to roast people while they're playing golf, right? But they didn't tell anyone playing golf this was going to happen. So I was just like an annoying guy walking up to people, like just like Lorenzo Lamas, and like. So Willis was about to take a golf swing, and I go, "What was jail like?" And he's like, and then I guess the people he was playing with didn't know he went to jail, so he had to explain why he went to jail. And
you were like, "What's manslaughter like, Todd?" Like Todd Brady.
So it didn't go. I mean, luckily he started laughing, but he was like, and then I brought up the Vanilla Ice thing, and he was like, I'm like, I knew you were gonna be Vanilla Ice. Like, you spent time in prison. And like, I was just like, I made it even worse. So yeah, that was so. Aljamain Sterling thinks Peter Yan intentionally cheated in their fight and shouldn't get an immediate rematch. He said, any other sport where you do something intentionally illegal, you get suspended, you get fined, you get ejected. But this guy is getting rewarded with a rematch, which I get is a big fight, but it's like, we could just break the rules and nothing's going to happen to us. I could just jump the octagon and nothing's going to happen to me. I could just go and fight another corner or push them after the bell. Nothing's going to happen. It's like, I feel like when you have rules for a reason, you kind of have to enforce them. Otherwise, let's just run them up.
I can translate that for you.
Like you're hurt. When you act like you're hurt and you can't continue, but there's a bunch of bullshit, you continue to. Come on.
I mean,
that was the worst acting job. That was the worst fucking acting job I've ever seen in my life.
Who was better, Bob Sapp and Big Stan or Aljamain Sterling?
No, Bob Sapp was great. I think Bob Sapp was great.
Okay, got it. No, listen, I think Aljamain has a point, just not in this situation, because it didn't.
No, he made Randy Couture look like Marlon Brando.
So Mike Winklejohn, who's Jones's corner, he predicts that Jon Jones would finish Ngannou late in the fight. I mean, if he's gonna win, that's probably how he's gonna win. Either stay away from him and points, or get him really tired. Just run around for an hour, and then jump on him when he's tired. Basically, I I don't see him.
He's predicting a really lousy fight.
What was that?
He's predicting a really lousy fight.
Yeah, he's right. His coach is saying it's going to be a lousy fight. Beneil Dariush is fighting Tony Ferguson. That's going to be a good fight. Man, Tony Ferguson, if he doesn't win this fight, may want to go to PFL and get that $1 million because
that's absolutely what I would do if I were him. Like, he can beat anybody in PFL easily. You know, I was thinking earlier, real quick, not to change the subject, but you know how Don brought up Marlon Brando? I heard somewhere the other day that, and Adam, you may have heard this, I don't know, being in Hollywood. Is it true you think that Marlon Brando and Richard Pryor used to have sex with each other?
Yes, that was according to Richard Pryor's kid, right?
That's what, yeah, his kid.
No,
his wife
was
said that,
someone else said that. Somebody else said that.
Someone close to him, I think. Yeah. Like, the only thing that reminded me of that, I was thinking the other day that I saw a clip of Brendan Schaub doing stand-up comedy on YouTube, and I read a comment. The comment said, Brendan Schaub is this, like, our generation's Richard Pryor, and by that I mean he's bisexual. And I started laughing, and then I looked, and it was my comment I made 2 years ago. I had no idea it was my own comment on YouTube, and that really made me laugh. That I didn't know it was my comment when I read it under top comments. So I don't know. So
Rob Font is taking on Cody Garbrandt. They both want to knock each other out. That's the way Cody loses fights. I feel like Cody can win almost anybody if he just stays away. When he gets into these wars, that's what Derek Brunson told me. He's like, I figured out that getting into hockey fights, I had a 50% chance of winning. But if I actually fought and stayed away and yada yada, I would win most of the fights. Don, I feel like you're one of the guys that doesn't work for because you win the hockey fights because nobody can out. Your head's just too fucking hard.
Nobody got hockey me.
Yeah, nobody got hockey you, right?
Hey, you're a hockey puck. Hey.
Thank you. I'm a hockey puck. It's like Frye saying you're a hockey puck is still funnier than anybody most people stand up. Just the fact that there's you hear that certain people could read the phone book and be funny. It's like an expression. And Frye, you're one of those people, man. Congratulations. Of
course you're assuming Don can read, but that's kind of taking a jump. But I'm kidding, Don. I love you.
So
yeah. Hey, good thing you're in Indianapolis, Missouri there, shit.
So
you're a hockey puck, Don. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all right.
That's funny. That's funny.
So all right. So okay, here's what Stipe said. First and foremost, I'm okay.
I can tell you what he said. It was
oh,
go ahead.
I know that fall wasn't my most graceful fall, but I was unconscious, so it happens. Crying emoji. To my family and friends, especially Croatia and Cleveland, I love you. I'm sorry. I hate letting you down. To my team, thank you. We win as a family, lose as a family. Losses aren't fun. They always sting for a while. That's the beast of the business. You can't win them all. Don't forget God always put you where you're meant to be at that exact moment. You can't dwell on what you should have done better. Unfortunately, I deviated from the game plan. I felt great coming into the second round. I saw it. I was beginning to go as planned. He was getting winded, and I came in overzealous and unprotected. I wasn't in as good as posture to take the hit. He saw the opening and did it. What any great fighter would do, and he congratulates him. What do you think, Sean?
I think some people would say that sounds like excuses. To me, it sounds like rah, rah, rah. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I love Steve. He's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean it's pretty simple. He just got hit by a guy who hits harder than him. He did. I thought he stunned Ngannou, and I think that's a natural reaction to try to follow it up. But I think that's where the mistake was. Man, is getting overly excited, thinking you hurt somebody, and walking toward a guy that hits that hard is a little crazy, man.
It's crazy. I think that's the most hurt Ngannou's ever been. Was that stinging him?
Yeah.
That's the thing about Ngannou. He's taking no damage in any of his fights. Even Jon Jones has been through wars. His Gustafsson fight, yada yada. I mean, whereas this guy's never been hurt. He's never been rocked. It's wild. Don, what do you think of Stipe's comment?
That sounded ridiculous. We win as a family, we lose as a family. Bullshit. When you lose, there's nobody around. they all disappear. You know, I guarantee you. Yeah. And your house is full of friends. You know, they're all patting you on the back. You lose. It's a quiet place.
That's the truest words ever spoken, man. Like, yeah, I never heard from anybody when I lost. Not a, are you okay? Not anything.
No,
just
that's
like,
bullshit. You said I was the only one.
Well, yeah, like you, but I mean, like, as far as supposed friends and family, like, no one. Like, it just.
That's what he said, nobody. You heard from nobody.
That's why I do think I remember that, Adam. I told you are the only one that asked me if I was okay after the fight, other than, like, my mom, you know what I mean, or whatever. But, I mean, no friends, nobody. But, man, you win. Every person you ever met in your life wants to corner your next fight, you know? So.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's
all want to walk down the ring. They all want to walk down the ring with you. Go to hell. It's goddamn. It's a fucking job. It's a circus act. You know. Goddamn. I'm there to fight. You know, get the shit knocked out of me or knock the shit out of somebody. I'm not there so you could be on TV and wave to some asshole you knew in the 7th grade.
I used to tell. My friends used to tell me, man, I'd love to trade places with you for one day, like my friends from before I got a little bit famous. And anytime one of them was one of my, like if I had a third spot for a third corner man, I'd let one of my buddies do it. And right before the fight started, I always look at them and be like, want to trade places now? Because I don't want to be here. Yeah. And they were always like, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. I was like, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll trade places with you about half hour.
Yeah.
So, Sean, what do you have coming up?
Well, just same stuff, running the puppy mill and fighting ticks. We've got ticks everywhere out here, man. It's just living in the country sometimes ain't all it's cracked up to be, especially if you got to go in town to get an internet server. Don knows what I mean. But, no, man, it's just doing whatever it is I do.
What about you, Don? Anything coming up?
Just trying to work on the silly podcast, get it going still. You know, the hard thing is getting people to show up. You know, they all make promises that they'll be there, and then it comes the day there and they disappear. And you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Adam?
That's bullshit, Don. You said you were coming to my show in Phoenix. You never came Thursday. You never came Friday. I was in town for I got 2 hours of sleep. I drove to fucking Tucson. Then filmed the short film. I had to fucking drive back and do 2 shows that night, and then I did another show. And then Phoenix, I drove back 6 hours Sunday. So you could have came to Phoenix.
When are you going back to Arizona, Adam? Because I'm going to meet you 2 out there.
Don,
you guys tell me when it's going to happen.
You know that, right?
Yeah, that's what you claim. You never told me where you were working at.
I told you. Oh, really? Really? Because here, I'll show you the text, Don. Hold on. Here we go.
It's probably that same text.
Let me know. Here's Don's text. Let me know where the location is in time. Thanks, man. I'll be doing comedy tomorrow night at 7 and 9, and Sunday at 7 at 5350 High Street. I'm in Tucson filming all day, and I gave you the exact thing. And you wrote, of course.
You just said 3 hours.
And then you wrote, okay, I was there from 9 to 3, and I had to drive back. And you wrote, of course. That's my favorite rock. That was your text back. So, like, there was no, like, that's what you wrote. That's my favorite rock. So you could have went to Phoenix Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And I was only in Tucson for like 4 hours. And I was so fucking tired, bro, because from driving and sick. I
came up there and drove you down and drove you back. Man. Yeah.
Dude, I was sick. I was also sick. And I drove 5 hours Thursday to get to the gig, did a show. Friday, I had.
Wait, you were also sick? Is that what you said?
Yes, I was also sick.
Yeah, and you also had a bullet wound and an arrow from the Apache attack.
Dude, then I did 2 shows Friday night. Got off stage. Then drove to Tucson. Did this
you had
thing.
A flat tire. You
fucking drove back. Then I did 2 shows Saturday night. Sunday I did a show. Drove 5 hours. They asked me to open for John Cleese on Monday, yesterday. I couldn't even open for Cleese. I had to get my fucking vaccine shot. So I couldn't even open for John Cleese from Monty Python. I'm like,
no way. You fucked that up?
Yeah, I had to get my vaccine.
How did you fucked up opening for John Cleese?
Yes.
God dang. What? How do you fuck that up?
I got to get a vaccine.
Why? Why? Because he's over 90?
No, because I'm around people and people
right,
who are.
John Cleese is over 90, right?
No, I had to get a vaccine Monday in LA. I had an appointment, so I had to drive. I had to drive back Sunday night. I drove back 6 hours Sunday night.
Wait, do you live in LA or Las Vegas?
LA.
I'm trying to figure out if you lived in LA or Vegas.
LA. I live in LA.
So your new house, where's your new house at?
It's like in the valley in Winnetka. But yeah, I knew you were mad at me for that. But you could have came to Phoenix, bro. You're like, I'm coming to your show. I'm coming to your show. You never came to the show. And then when I told you exactly where I was going to be, you go, that's my favorite rock. That's what you said. So I think like
you sent me a picture. You sent me a picture of a rock and a cactus.
Yeah, there's an address. There's an address attached to it. It says Pima County, 36th Street, Trailhead, 3280 West 36th Street, Tucson. That's what I sent you. The fucking.
This is my favorite part of the podcast.
And you go. Oh, of course. That's my favorite rock. Look, just so everyone fucking knows, like this is not me. I go, look, here you go. Fucking, let me know where you're going. Thanks, man. I'll be here. And then this, that. Okay. This is not me. Don. Hello?
I mean, there's not. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Send him the address of where you're at right now, Adam.
Fuck, man.
I thought maybe you pulled a Dick King, we're going to find you in the closet wearing some women's skivvies, with a rope on your neck.
That's not Dan Kenny. That's, what's his name? The guy. Listen. No, I was exhausted. I was sick. I still was hoping you'd come to the show. And of course, I'd make time for you. I was only in Tucson for like 3-4 hours because I had a 2-hour drive there at 7 in the morning. And then I had to get back before the show and 2 hours drive back. So I was only there and I had to film this fucking thing at that rock. I'm like, maybe you'll come to the fucking meet me at that place.
Rock.
But anyway, I love you. I love you, Don. Sorry that you got upset about that. I thought maybe you get mad. You weren't texting me.
I didn't get upset. I'll talk to you about it off the phone, sweetheart.
Okay. All right. Listen, this week I will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at the Comedy Catch at the Choo Choo Room in Chattanooga. Hopefully you'll come. And then I'm in Miami. I'm in at the Boca Black Box in Boca Raton, Florida, in 2 weeks. But thank you guys and take care, guys. Be good.
Thanks, buddy.